Hi, everybody. This is the Fantasy Huddle. I'm Randy Shaver along with Kevin Gorg. This show brought to you by Aquarius Home Services. We're in the Aquarius Home Services studio. 10K Construction, Minnesota Masonic Charities, and Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood. Wow. Week 2 is over in the NFL. Week 3 promises to have so many interesting storylines because of all of the injuries. And we'll start with the Vikings because McCarthy is now going to be out, maybe out for a month, possibly with an ankle injury. I mean, I think
I love how you put that in quotations.
I think
there's like conspiracy theories that the Vikings are sitting this guy. No chance.
Kevin, the guy, no, I'm not talking about that. The guy finished the game. He didn't leave the game with an ankle injury. Apparently Monday morning, wakes up, his ankle is in bad shape. It's going to be Carson Wentz season for the Vikings against the Bengals, who will bring in their backup because Joe Burrow has surgery and he's going to be out for 3 months. What a mess this Vikings offense has turned out to be after only 2 weeks. And it's not all on McCarthy. Their offensive line is banged up. Aaron Jones is hurt. He's not going to play this week. It's Jordan Mason season, which is okay with me because
you've got plenty of shares.
I've got plenty of shares. But, I mean, just overall as a football fan, a Viking, and you're wearing your purple appropriately
I am purple pain,
today,
baby.
Wow. Just how fast things have tumbled in a week and a half, basically.
Yeah, let's look at this from two different perspectives. We'll start with the fantasy perspective, which is why we're here. I mean, the Vikings have been banged up. I think you have to look at this pragmatically. Their offensive line is in shambles. On the flip side, they're missing huge components to their defense, so they can't get off the field.
Right.
I mean, Cashman's a stud. Van Ginkel's a stud. The hitman.
Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, they are missing players all around this roster, so don't panic. In the short term, no question.
Easy to say, don't panic.
Well, yeah, Viking fans, good luck with that. They're on bridges with knives. I get it. But I mean,
there's one sitting right there.
I know. I'm watching our producer, Alex. He's got tears in his eyes. So in the short term, no question. Jefferson, Jordan Mason, Hawkinson, who's been brutal so far in fantasy, they're all going to be affected. It's going to be a different looking offense. I think the biggest benefactor might be your guy, Jordan Mason. The team they're going to play this week is in a similar situation. It's way worse. Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in this league.
See, I disagree. I don't think it's way worse.
Oh, I do. I mean, when you're looking at 3 months as opposed to 4 weeks.
No, I get that part, but I'm just thinking here in the short term, yes, they'll miss a beat or two, but look at the talent.
Oh, they've got talent.
And they're not as banged up in the other positions as the Vikings.
Oh, and Jake Browning is a serviceable backup.
Yes.
He's serviceable, but let's not forget that if you drafted Jamar Chase, you likely picked him either 1 or 2 overall in your draft.
Right.
He's had 7 games with Browning so far, and his average has gone down from 21 down to 15. And in 5 of those 7 games, Jamar Chase has scored 12 or fewer fantasy points. So there's going to be a dip. And unfortunately, there's going to be a dip with the guy you picked first or second in the draft. The guy that might benefit is T. Higgins. He's had good chemistry, scored in the game after Burrow left last week. And then Chase Brown, the guy I'm all in on, I have to feel like in the red zone, they're going to be a little bit more conservative and give Chase Brown a look. But neither one of these teams is better without their starting quarterback.
And, of course, this is the storyline this week. This is what's trending is the injuries to quarterbacks because you've got Justin Fields with a concussion situation. You've got Purdy that we still don't know what his status is going to be. So
and Jaden Daniels, keep an eye on this
with
one.
the knee injury.
So you've got some big time question marks. These are high end quarterbacks. So depth of your rosters is going to be critical. The waiver wire is going to be super important. Now you've got to have a couple options at that position. And now you're looking at guys like Trevor Lawrence. Now you're looking at, God forbid, Russell Wilson, who turned the clock back last week. So be aggressive on the waiver wire, get some depth at these positions because now the injury started. We're not even into the bye weeks, which start in a couple weeks, and then it really gets dicey.
Just full transparency, we're recording this on Tuesday. I went to my waiver wires this morning before I came in. I am shocked at how many leagues still has Daniel Jones available.
Wow.
And I get it. It's Daniel Jones, but he's looked fantastic in the first 2 weeks with the Colts. And I know they were home games, so it may be a little bit different on the road. But I went after Daniel Jones in quite a few of my situations this week because, I mean, how can you not? I can't sit there and ignore it. I can't ignore that. So you're right. If you've got quarterback issues, this is the day. This is the week you've got to address those and figure those out.
Well, if Daniel Jones is available, he's going to be a top 10 player in my eyes in fantasy this year for a couple of reasons. Number one, he runs the ball. People forget this guy can run the ball, and they're using him in the red zone, even though they've got Jonathan Taylor. And number two, they play in that division. They have a horrible division. So a bulk of their games are against bad football teams.
And I would say number three, he's got a really good offensive line. He's got a great running game in Jonathan Taylor. And he's got an emerging receiving core with Tyler Warren being kind of a security blanket for him. So, and a good defense on the other side. So there's a lot of positive things going on with the Colts. All right, let's move on. This is Fantasy Huddle, which means we're going to talk fantasy football. We're going to break down each of the games for this week. And we will start with the Vikings and Cincinnati. This is my game this week. Now, the early line is 44.5 with the Vikings by 5. I think that's going to change a little bit.
It's down to 2.5.
Is it down to 2.5 already? I have to feel the over-under may even go up from that. I don't know. Maybe you know something I don't. Just because the two defenses have not been very good. But I think there's trouble, obviously, on both sides, as we've talked about, the quarterback issues with Burrows out and with JJ out. On the Cincinnati side, it lessens the great players that they have. I'm a little disappointed in your guy, Chase Brown. He just
very average.
He just really hasn't done a lot of stuff yet, but it's early. I agree with you about T. Higgins, and I agree with Jamar. I mean, if you have them in your lineup, you still got to play them.
Oh, God,
Don't outthink yourself.
Completely
just because
agree.
Burrow isn't playing. Don't do that to yourself. You still got to play your best players. So, from a daily fantasy purpose, I don't like them as much now, obviously. But if I've got them on my teams, I'm going to play them. So the short answer is for the Bengals, if you still got to play them, there's still good pieces to play. The Vikings, if the quarterback whisperer is what he says he is, he should be shouting in the ear of Carson Wentz because
maybe Carson Wentz needs him to shout because he's got a hearing aid. He's that old. I don't know.
But I mean, can they pull off the improbable with Wentz at quarterback? And maybe we'll see Max Brosmer before it's all said and done. Who knows? McCarthy supposedly only out for a short period of time, but he has not looked good. He's had
7 of his 8 quarters have been bad.
One good quarter of football. He did not look good the other night. So, in looking at the Vikings pieces, Jordan Mason to me is the most playable play
by far.
Again, if you've got Jefferson on your team, you got to play him because he's Justin Jefferson. But the expectation can't be very, very big for what he's going to do. I don't think that it's all Hawkinson's fault. I just don't think they've targeted him enough to give him opportunities. But again, he has not been very good either. This is the last week of Addison's suspension. After this is over, he'll join it. That might change a few minds about the Vikings. But in all, I think both teams are a mess right now, offensively and fantasy because of the quarterback situations, but there are still pieces that you should be considering playing. You want to add anything more to that? Or?
I'll say this. The schedule is soft right now. If you're going to have your quarterback go down, a very soft spot in the schedule. You've got a banged up Bengals team. You've got 2 games on a neutral site, one in Dublin, one in London against Pittsburgh and Cleveland, both middling teams in my opinion. But as you said, temper your affections, play your guys. And then if you're playing daily fantasy, I am all in on Jordan Mason this week. He's going to be a key cog to everything I do. He's going to get all the run with Aaron Jones banged up. He's going to get red zone looks, especially with Carson Wentz. I've got Jordan Mason on a big game Sunday.
If the Vikings lose the next 3, might they just stay overseas?
They're not losing the next 3. Don't do this to the Viking fans. My goodness.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, he's got tears
already.
I've got Miami at Buffalo. Yep. It's the Thursday night game. Blowout city likely here. Buffalo favored by 12.5. The over-under is a high one at 49.5. Most of that because
Buffalo
might score 40 themselves.
Yeah, right.
Here's the Miami side for me. And I'm going to be brutally honest. Listen, A-Chain is the guy you want. Devin A-Chain, whatever you want to call him. He's a cheat code. He gets 5 to 9 catches every game. He scores in garbage time every game. He's the one guy on Miami that I love. I don't love Tua. Tua's been mediocre.
Yep.
I get that they're going to be likely chasing in this football game. Is Tua startable? Sure. Is he somebody I love? Not at all.
Yep.
And same with his two weapons. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are big names with a beautiful sticker price. I don't know if they live up to the billing. Maybe in garbage time, maybe trailing in this game, you can use them. I'm not going to isolate them in daily fantasy. H-In's the only Dolphin I really love in this week's matchup. On the Buffalo side, I mean, obviously, Josh Allen is a must start. James Cook is in an absolute smash spot. He was unstoppable against the Jets last week. They're going to be playing from in front. James Cook likely has another huge game. Now look at their wide receiver room here, Randy. And, listen, Shakir, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, they're all a guy, right? And they're all fine. The problem with Buffalo is you never know what week one of those guys is going to blow up.
Well, here's the way I look at Buffalo, and I'll look at it in a daily fantasy perspective. You play Josh Allen naked. You just play him naked.
Always.
Because you don't know where the ball is going to go. And I would actually put him with Cook on a daily fantasy team.
Then you own every touchdown.
Because then you basically, right. But you're right. I mean, it's kind of a muddled mess at receiver.
It is.
For Buffalo.
Dalton Kincaid's a tight end if you're in a pinch. And again, bye weeks are coming. Injuries are mounting. Keep Dalton Kincaid on the back burner. Not a guy I would look forward to starting this week, but an option maybe down the road.
And if you play defenses and you have Buffalo, I'd play the Buffalo defense this 100%. Week for sure. Green Bay at Cleveland. This is a noon game on Sunday. 43.5 is the early line. The Packers by 7. The Packers side, they're going to face a tough defense. The Ravens running game against Cleveland was basically non-existent. King Henry only had 23 yards against the Browns, but obviously Lamar Jackson lit him up on the passing side. And I think that's probably the way that the Packers will go this week, by throwing the football. I love Tucker Kraft this week. I think he's the best tight end to put on your roster this week. Again, Green Bay's receiving situation similar to Buffalo's in a lot of ways, with the injury to Jaden Reed. Matthew Golden has just been non-existent. I don't think that's going to last that long, but he's just not done much. To me, Romeo Doubs is the guy that if he's on the waiver wire this week, and he has been on quite a few of my leagues, I'm going after him. Just because I think that there's a connection between him and Jordan Love. I love the Green Bay defense this week against Cleveland's offense, because Cleveland will be in pass mode. They can tee off. This is a good week for Micah Parsons to really see what he can do against Cleveland. But for me, it's kind of a middling number, and Green Bay is okay, but there's not a lot of great pieces other than Tucker Kraft for me. On the Cleveland side, so excited that Judkins had the work that he got. I stuck with this guy, even in this league. I picked him up in the Top North League when he was dropped by Travis. Dumb move by Travis. And I held on to him in it, and I've held on to him in a number of different leagues. Just trying to have some patience with him, and I think my patience is going to pay off. He looked really good.
He did.
And think about it. He didn't do anything in training camp. I mean, he's basically starting from scratch. So I like him. Is he a must play? Absolutely not. Is he a get a guy on the waivers and stash him? For sure, especially if you're in a dynasty league. Stash him, because he's going to end up, I think, being a really good player. Harold Fanning was a thing last week. Not so much this week, but there's some positives to him. That's it, though. There's just really
Jerry Jeudy's been a tough one.
Yeah, really nothing there. I see the Packers winning this game in basically a shutout. And I know that's a risky thing to say, but I just don't think Cleveland offers much offensively. You've got Indianapolis and Tennessee. In fact, you've got back-to-back games here.
Yeah.
Indy, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh, New England, both noon games on Sunday.
Similar games. Both have totals around 44.
Yep.
Indy's going to be your 3-point favorite on the road at Tennessee. I'll start with the Colts, who have been brilliant so far. Danny Dimes, start him. Like I said, I think he's a top 10 option. You can play him in daily fantasy. He's running the football. He's throwing well. He's got a very, very good offensive line, to Randy's point.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor's a no-brainer. He's a stud running back. Don't think about it. Just play him. Same thing at tight end with Tyler Warren. They're using this guy all over the field. He's even getting runs now, as we talked about in our preseason shows.
Yep.
He's awesome. Wide receivers, again, there's a bunch of them. Pittman, Downs, Alec Pierce. I lean on Pittman in a lot of daily fantasy. Downs is starting to get his shares up a little bit as far as snaps go, and Pierce is just a guy, but certainly you can mix those guys in daily. Not guys you're going to want to isolate in your season-long fantasy. On the Tennessee side, what do you do with Cam Ward? The kid clearly has talent. The play he made last week where he scrambled around like Fran Tarkenton was awesome. Yes. It's a work in progress. Another guy I'd rather have on my bench. Second half of the year, I think he'll be better. Can you start him this week? Sure, but I think he's a bottom half starter. I don't think it's a guy you're going to want to lean on. Pollard's the guy in the backfield. He's not doing a ton with it, but he's getting a great amount of volume, so you can use him. And Calvin Ridley right now is the receiver that is wide receiver 1. But remember this name. If you've got some injuries, you've got some issues, Alec Manor. I don't know how to say the name. I just know that I want this guy on my bench.
I see the name written down. Yeah, I'm going, is he really going to try and pronounce that?
Scored last week.
Good job.
And looks like a young kid behind Calvin Ridley that's going to get some run. Are you going to start him this week? Probably not. No. Daily fantasy, absolutely at a cheap price. But like Randy said, some of these younger guys like Judkins, you want him on your bench, or if you've got a dynasty league, a guy you want to scoop up.
I think the most interesting thing to me in this game is how does Indy play on the road? Because they've played really good the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better place for your first road game,
no question,
other than Carolina, to maybe go to Tennessee.
Tennessee's an easy one.
You know, you're kind of easing your way in a little bit, but I'm kind of in on Daniel Jones. I'm with you. I'm kind of excited by what I see in Indy so far.
Pittsburgh travels to New England. Aaron Rodgers. Well, what do you do with Aaron Rodgers?
Play him. If you got him, play him.
I guess. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't love the guy. I don't love this spot. But you know what?
You know what? I don't mean to interrupt, but this is your philosophy in your draft. Wait on a quarterback. So if you waited on a quarterback and you took Aaron Rodgers, you can't be disappointed so far.
Well, week 1 was great. Week 2 was not outstanding. Still, you're right.
Overall,
you can play him. I look at him as a bottom tier starter.
Sure.
You can play him for sure. I don't think you can count on him. The fantasy guy you want, and this is crazy to me. I've got a couple shares of him, but Jaylen Warren quietly producing as an RB1. If you look at his numbers, they stack up. I mean, it's amazing to me that he was drafted as late as he was.
Well, everybody thought Caleb was going to be the guy.
And Caleb's not getting any run.
No.
So Jaylen Warren's a guy, if you can trade for him or if you've got him, lock him down. A typical week last week, 50 yards on the ground, 50 yards receiving. He's getting 4 to 6 targets every game. DK Metcalf, listen, he's a red zone guy. He's going to get you touchdowns. But, man, the volume concerns me. 3 catches, 20 yards last week, and they were in chase mode most of the second half. So DK's still good. You could still start him, but I'm worried about the volume.
Yep.
On the New England side, Drake May is a thing. I'm telling you right now, this guy was all the buzz. If you listen to the national fantasy pundits before the drafts this year, we talked about it.
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
And I wasn't on board.
It's early, but so far, he's been great. The problem in the backfield is they're canceling out each other. And Trevion Henderson, the rookie everybody wanted, has been okay at best. Ramondre is still a thing.
Yeah, had a big week.
And so I don't like either one as a full-time starter. You're going to have to play the guessing game with me in daily. Diggs hasn't been great. He's not startable. Hunter Henry, the tight end's been fine, but he's bottom half at best. And then Kayshon Boutte is a guy that's had some touchdown equity early in the year, but you're not going to live on 1 catch and 16 yards and a touchdown. This is not sustainable. So I've stashed him on a couple of my rosters. Yep. He's not startable yet. So really limited on the side of New England outside of their quarterback.
It's amazing how many, in just the short time we've been talking, how many of these offenses have good to decent quarterbacks and the receiving situation's a muddled mess.
It is.
I mean, New England's the same way. So
it's unbelievable.
It's crazy. All right. Rams at Philadelphia. This game's a noon start on Sunday. The line early, 45.5, Philly by 3. To me, could be the second best game of the day, being played between two really good football teams, two really good defenses. Devontae Adams is getting peppered with end zone targets for the Rams. I like both receivers, but they face a tough Philly defense. Again, if they're on your roster, you got to play them. Nakua, I mean, he does it all. He just does it all for the. He is. I'm not as high on Kyron Williams this week because I think the Eagles' run defense is pretty good. But again, I'm focused on Stafford and Nakua and Adams. If I'm playing Rams, those are the guys I'm interested in. On the Eagles side, I mean, Saquon's just a workhorse. I mean, last week, 22 carries, 88 yards. Obviously, you got to play the guy. It's going to be a physical football game between these two teams. And he'll get his share. He may not get in the end zone, but he's certainly going to be a big part of what they're doing. And of course, the tush push takes away from that short yardage touchdown stuff for Saquon, which really kind of sucks. But he's still a very playable guy. I agree with you with the passing offense of the Eagles. It is,
hard to watch.
They get ahead and they pass to get first downs, but they're not trying, at least it looks that way, not trying to break the bank by going and hitting the big strikes, right? It's like playing guillotine fantasy.
Yep.
I'm just trying to win.
They're just
I'm not trying to
survive.
score a lot of points.
They don't
need to win.
I mean, nobody throws the ball less. 22
and that's
times
what the Eagles
a game.
do.
Last year it was 24 times a game for the body of the season. And if it works, you can't really begrudge them. But if you own Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown, I mean, they are killing your fantasy teams.
Right. So, I mean, there are certainly playable parts on both sides, but I think the Eagles and the Rams defenses are both very good. Mm-hmm. And so I think you have to kind of temper your enthusiasm for both of those offenses. And quite honestly, both those offenses have not been that good through week 2 either. So play those players at your risk, but I think the defenses in that game both stand out. You've got the Jets at Tampa Bay.
Tampa favored by 7, totals around 45 in this game. The big question mark for the Jets, of course, is their star quarterback, Justin Fields, who in real football terms is probably middle of the road, but in fantasy, because he can run so well, he's kind of a high-end quarterback. So keep an eye on that. Breece Hall continues to be the back in New York, but last week had a really clunker of a game. 10 rushes, 29 yards, just 2 catches, didn't find the end zone. I'm not worried about Breece Hall because he's going to be the guy, but it was a tough week. Garrett Wilson is the go-to guy for Justin Fields. He's going to be solid. Let's hope that Fields plays. Garrett Wilson then will be startable in a game where the Jets probably are going to be in chase mode. That's it for me on the Jets side. On the Tampa side, pretty simple stuff. Baker, Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, and Egbuka, the receiver. All 4 are studs. All 4 are startable. And until Godwin comes back, you don't need to worry about anybody else. They're going to be great. Their team looks awesome. They're moving the ball, and they're in a very good spot for victory this week.
I would add Rashad White into that mix.
He scored
because
yesterday.
Last night, he carried the ball quite a bit. In fact, they almost split the carries in that football game. So I get it. I'm on Bucky Irving too. But if Rashad White is available and you need some backup help at running back.
And he is available in like 82% of leagues. I looked this morning.
I would definitely pick him up and hold on to him.
Especially if you have Bucky, because if Bucky gets hurt, then that guy's in a great spot.
And even
he
if Bucky
find the
doesn't get hurt, he's still getting some volume.
Fair point.
At least to this point of the season. I've got the Vegas-Washington game. It's a noon start on Sunday. The line is 47.5 early, Washington by 6. That's a big line. Mm-hmm. I think it's mostly on the Washington side. However, if Jaden Daniels doesn't play, and that's a possibility, so make sure that you're listening to Kevin on Friday or you're watching the injury report, because if he doesn't play, that changes a lot of what's going on. I like Washington pieces, but again, nothing to me stands out. I mean, yes, Deebo Samuel, yes, McLaurin, if Jaden plays. If Jaden doesn't play, I'm not sure I like a lot in this game. I like the Washington defense. I'll say that much. Their running game
It's a mess.
It's okay. Again, there's nothing here that just I get excited about. Let's put it that way. Unless Jaden plays. And then if Jaden plays, I will look at stacking maybe a Samuels and McLaurin with Jaden because I think the Vegas defense is susceptible to getting beat, especially when they're on the road, having to go to the East Coast. I think that's a time when you jump on
100%.
Teams that are playing West Coast, if you're an East Coast team playing a West Coast team. As far as the Vegas side goes, I watched that football game on Monday night. Good God. Geno Smith was just terrible.
He was bad.
And Genty, he's getting opportunities, maybe not as much as some people thought he was going to get. But that whole team right now offensively is a mess. And at least it looked that way on Monday night. Yeah, you play Brock Bowers. I mean, if you got Brock Bowers, you got to play him. He didn't look 100% in that football game either.
No.
So to me, I'm going to stay away.
Even Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from the Vegas side. Yeah. I just, until I see more consistency from Geno Smith, especially going, Kevin, if they were at home, I would think differently about them, but they're on the road going to the East Coast. And I just, to me, that's a formula for disaster for them. And again, especially if Jaden Daniels plays. So not a lot on either side of this game. Atlanta, Carolina, it's a noon game on Sunday.
Well, anytime you play Carolina, you're playing against the worst fantasy defense on the face of the earth. So if you're playing daily fantasy, fire up all your Falcons. If you're in season long, this is just going to be a buffet of fantasy points. Just give me.
What's the over-under?
It's only 43.5, which surprises me.
Whoa.
I like the over here if I'm in Vegas for sure.
Yeah.
Penix must start. I think he's in a smash spot. I mean, Bijan Robinson, if I was looking at the landscape of all the games, if I had to pick one player to have this week, it's Bijan Robinson. He is going to crush. I like Drake London. It's a get-right game for him. I thought he was underutilized against the Vikings for whatever reason. Darnell Mooney's back. I'm not starting him. It's just a player to keep in mind on the waiver wire if you've got some injuries to stash for later. And then Kyle Pitts, they're using him.
Kyle Pitts actually looked pretty good.
Okay. He looked okay.
Against the Vikings.
He's probably startable against Carolina. Let's just be blunt.
For sure.
I hate to say it.
Yeah.
On the Carolina side, they're going to be in chase mode like they are almost every single week. Bryce Young's not somebody I love, but it's somebody you can use if you need a quarterback, especially with the injuries we've got right now. Chuba Hubbard looks just like Chuba Hubbard should look. This kid he's a lot like James Conner. You don't think about him.
Yep.
You don't talk about him, but he shows up every week and he gives you reputable RB1 stats week in and week out. You're right about Tech McMillan. I watched that game last week. Tech's a thing.
He's a stud.
He's an absolute stud. He hasn't had the touchdown equity yet, but it's coming. Do not panic. And then here's a sneaky pickup for you. He was available on a lot of waiver wires. And because of some of the injuries, Coker being specifically the injury, I'm thinking about Hunter Renfrow got 9 targets last week, 7 catches, and he's a red zone guy, little slot scat back kind of guy. Keep Hunter Renfrow in your tool shed just because in daily you can get him real cheap, and I think he could score in garbage time.
Keep him and get rid of Xavier Legette.
Oh, good Lord. What a mess.
Forget it.
I'm not even going to talk about him. He's
not even going to be a factor.
Right.
So, I will say something about Michael Penix. I thought I would be seeing more of him right now. Maybe in this game we'll see him.
I think
kind of stand
if you don't
out.
see it this week, you might not see it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great spot for him.
All right. Houston, Jacksonville. It's a noon game on Sunday. 43.5. Jacksonville by 2. That line could change a little bit after the Texans loss on Monday night. On the Jacksonville side, I like a lot of pieces. ETN, again, looks good. Everybody's talking about Bashal Tutin. And you know what? I watched some of that game. He looks really good, and I've got him stashed away in a few of my rosters. I'm excited to see the possibility. Maybe not so much again this week, but as the season moves along, especially bye week situations with running backs, I'm going to put him in there. But he had 8 carries for 42 yards. He looks like a thing. Their ground game looks really good. I mean, in the first 2 weeks of the season, they look like they can run the football. Mild concern with Brian Thomas. Just is not... He's not getting the catches. He's getting some targets, but he just doesn't look right. Maybe it's just maybe I'm not seeing what other people are seeing, but
No, I'm with you.
I just don't think he looks right now. Maybe he'll have a breakout game against the Texans. The Texans have a good defense, so it's going to be hard for Jacksonville to do a lot. Parker Washington was a thing last week. For me, it's like he's a one and done. I'm not interested in Parker Washington. I'm going to have some patience with Brian Thomas. But overall, I like the Jacksonville pieces. I think there's some players to play, and they are at home against Houston, so I like that. On the Houston side, tough game against Tampa, and Tampa's good. I mean, Tampa's underrated good,
yes.
right? I just CJ Stroud just doesn't do anything for me as a quarterback in fantasy. He just doesn't. I love Nico Collins. He's a stud, but they're off right now in their connection.
Well, CJ Stroud's a bit of a tease. He can make plays like he did on the touchdown of Nico Collins, but he's not consistent. So in fantasy, he drives you nuts.
Well, he's like my golf game. For the first 17 holes, I suck. But then if I hit a great drive on 18, hey, everything's good. I'm back. CJ's kind of like that guy for sure. I thought Nick Chubb had some life Monday night. Again, I've got him on a few rosters. He's not my main guy, but when the bye weeks come, I'm not going to be afraid to put him in the lineup. But, there's just not a lot that gets me excited about the Texans at Jacksonville. And I think Jacksonville is a pretty good football team. For the most part, I think they're a pretty good football team. So I think the 43.5 is a fair number. If I were in Vegas, I'd take the under on this game.
Me too.
I just don't think that either team offensively is going to do a lot.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
Let's look at your fall water checklist. If you check yes to orange rust stains, smelly water, and that funny taste, then you should get a new Kinetical water treatment system from Aquarius Home Services. Then check yes to worry-free drinking water, spotless dishes, and softer laundry. Get a free water analysis plus 36-month zero financing based on credit approval. Visit AquariusHomeservices.com today. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended. 10K Construction is your one-stop for all your general contracting needs, whether interior, exterior, residential, commercial, or multifamily properties. They build relationships with their clients, and that's how they've grown their business through referrals. Plus, they are teaming up with LP SmartSide to become Minnesota's premier siding installer. And they're also partnering with IKO Shingles as well. They've got the best of the best to do the job right. 10K Construction covers both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, the rumor is they charge a little extra because it's Packer land. I'm not sure about that. But what I am sure about, 10K Construction is the company you want handling all of your general contracting needs. Go to 10kconstruction.com for details.
Hey, Rosie here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than my good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they have got you covered with two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to LexusofWayzata.com or LexusofMaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
All right, let's move on. Sunday, 3:05. Ooh, here we go. The Broncos. Denver at the Chargers this week.
Huge game. Crushing loss for my Broncos in real football last week. They snatched defeat from the claws of victory because On a 60-yard field goal try, we're going to need to climb on the back of their center.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Common sense.
I mean, just a dumb penalty.
Horrific 15-yard penalty. So I'm going to try to get over that and tell you in fantasy, these are two pretty damn good defenses. Yes. So you're going to have to temper your affection for players on both sides.
What's the over-under?
Over-under is 45, which I think is a touch high. Wow. These are two great defenses.
Wow.
And it's a division game where they know each other so well.
Yeah.
So listen, if you got to start Bo Nix, plug your nose and hope for 2 touchdowns, one way, shape, or form, or the other. But that's probably the ceiling for me. The backfield, I'm not touching it, man. I'm not touching the backfield. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are splitting everything. And so they kind of cancel each other out. Cortland Sutton had a really quiet week after a great first week with a touchdown and 8 targets. He had 1 catch for 6 yards. Now, he drew a couple of pass interference calls in the end zone, so they're still looking his direction. He's startable, but again, not a game where I think he blows up. Troy Franklin's going to be a guy on the waiver wire you're going to have to consider. 8 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. He's quickly becoming, outside of Cortland Sutton, the go-to guy in this offense for Denver. So keep an eye on Troy Franklin. Marvin Mims is a home run flyer if you're going to play daily. If you're really desperate in season long, he's a big play guy. He's a cheap version of Jamison Williams, but he's not nearly as good. No. So just stash him for later. On the side of the Chargers, Herbert's been awesome. Randy talked about it. I think the Chargers win this game, and I think Herbert probably gets his 2 or 3 touchdowns. I love Hampton, the talent in fantasy. It just hasn't played out in the backfield. They're not using him nearly as much. They've been very, very pass happy. When you've got the weapons the Chargers have, you don't need to rely on the rookie running back. I think Hampton's going to get his in the second half of the season. Still startable, Randy, but not doing what I think people were expecting with where they drafted him. Yep. And then McConkey, Quentin Johnston, and Keenan Allen are all startable. 3 receivers, all startable, all good. Quarterback playing well right now. The Chargers are a thing, and I'm not going to back off them.
Justin Herbert's playing at a very high level right now, and I think most people thought Harbaugh just wants to run the football. He's going to be conservative. He's not being conservative because he sees what Herbert is capable of doing, and as long as they protect him, and he has the time that he had the other night against Vegas, he's going to be lights out.
Yeah, so he looks like a steal where you drafted Herbert in season long for sure.
Yep. All right. New Orleans, Seattle. It's a 3:05 game. The numbers are like around 42. Seattle's a 7-point favorite. On the Saints side, if you got Kamara, you got to play him. He's getting a ton of work. He had almost 100 yards rushing. Olave had 10 targets last week. They're competitive. You got to give the Saints a little bit of credit here. And Spencer Rattler, obviously, not a great quarterback, but they're competitive.
They are.
And so as long as they're competitive, that helps the fantasy side of the team that you maybe like against them, because that'll force them to play, certain players longer in games like that. So that's really all I like on the New Orleans
tight
side.
end, Jawan Johnson, do anything for you?
Yeah, he did. Well, he helped me in the Talk North League when I picked him up.
Too.
And he's looking for him. But again, to me, he's a serviceable guy because he's filling in for George Kittle.
Yeah.
That's really what I look at him as. I'm not looking at him as being my number one tight end.
No, he's a guy that would be your backup tight end. And if you had a guy like Kittle,
and I'll play, and you should play
or Goddard, you should absolutely can play him with confidence.
On the Seattle side, Kenneth Walker, he's alive. 13 carries, 105 yards, a touchdown. I love him this week. In this game, I love JSN this week. I think he's a stud. 10 targets last week. He is really turning into be a phenomenal player.
Think about if you drafted Jefferson or Jamar Chase. If you were asking any fantasy owner out there right now, if they would trade either one of those guys straight up for Jackson Smith and Jigba, crazy to talk about that a month ago. I would take the Seattle kid over both those guys, and it wouldn't be close.
I mean, it's so early, though.
But with the quarterback situation, Randy, I'm not changing my opinion.
How ironic is that? Because Sam Darnold's the quarterback in Seattle.
How about that? Yeah, we had him.
Had
Danny Jones. And we could have had
how ironic
Rodgers.
is that?
Don't get me going.
All right. Anyway, Sam
Darnold's
favorite guy is JSN. He's emerging. How about the old man, Cooper Kupp?
How about that?
7 catches, 90 yards, 9 targets. Obviously, I like a lot of the Seattle pieces. I think the number is low, But if you look at what the number means, it means Seattle is going to dominate them. So there's a number of pieces to love. But to me, Kenneth Walker is probably the number one piece because I think they'll be ahead and I think they'll feed him. But you certainly should play JSN if you have him, for sure. And maybe stack Darnold and JSN. Don't be afraid to do that, even though the number's 42.5. Dallas at Chicago. It's Sunday, 3:25.
This is why I love fantasy football, because normally the Cowboys and the Bears are two middling at best real football teams. But to me, this is a fantasy football feast. Dallas is -1.5. The over-under is 48.5. I love the over. Neither one of these defenses can stop anyone or anything. Even the Vikings offense, who was banged up at the time, marched up and down the second half on this Bears defense. And Dallas just made Russell Wilson look like it's 2008. So all players in consideration. Dak is a must-start for Dallas. Javonte Williams,
he's
a must-start. He's an absolute thing. CeeDee Lamb, you're not even going to think about it. The guy's a stud. George Pickens, not even going to think about it. Jake Ferguson, he's a tight end that's starting to really gain some traction. You can trade for him. If you've got an underperforming tight end, go get yourself a little Jake Ferguson. On the Chicago side, listen, Caleb Williams is a real project if you're coaching the Chicago Bears, but we don't need to worry about that. All we need is production, and he'll put up points. I'm telling you, he will put up points just like he did last week. They got their butts kicked in Detroit, but he was serviceable. So was Swift. Swift is the only guy they're using, especially in the red zone. Start him. The breakout player this year, and I am so mad I don't have any shares of him, is Rome Odunze.
Yeah,
this is clearly Caleb's guy. If you're playing daily fantasy, especially at home against Dallas, fire up Rome Odunze. DJ Moore is a guy. Burden's not a guy you're going to worry about, but Odunze is the guy you want in Chicago.
How crazy is that is one of the better fantasy games of the week?
It's
because I would not have guessed that.
No, I mean, you look at the matchups, and you're right. The Philly game is way more intriguing against the Rams. It's a playoff rematch, but for us, I mean, fantasy, this is the game I want.
This could be, though, I'll say this could be like the opposite of that Steelers-Jets game where the number was so low and everybody thought it was going to be horrible, and it turned out to be a great game. This game looks great on paper.
Watch the wind be 40 miles an hour.
It could be the worst game ever.
God.
All right, here we go. Arizona, San Francisco, Sunday, 3:25. The number's 43.5. Arizona's a slight favorite. Both teams are 2-0. This is a big game for Arizona. This is a game for Arizona to show that they belong in the consideration for the NFC West. From the Arizona side, they had a grind out win over Carolina.
Wasn't pretty
at all. James Conner, Trey Benson did not play as much in the second game. Conner was the guy, and is still the guy. To me, Trey McBride is the player in this. I mean, 7 targets again. He's just all over the place. 6 catches, 78 yards. Arizona's a slight favorite, as I said. 2 defenses that are interesting, not terrible. It could be a lower scoring game.
I agree.
It really could.
Division rival.
Yep, could be a lower scoring game. The Cardinals gave up over 300 yards passing to Carolina.
Oof.
So that's something to think about when you look at the Niners side. Brock Purdy, don't know his status yet. If he's out, I still look at him the same way with Brock and without, because Mac Jones certainly played well enough. If you were to have him on your team for fantasy, he was a great daily fantasy player last week.
And again, they were playing the Saints. So I get it.
This week, maybe a little bit tougher because of Arizona. Jawan Jennings. Hello, you're back.
He's back.
Had a great week. 10 targets, 5 catches, 89 yards. McCaffrey's healthy after 2 weeks.
It's amazing.
I mean, you got to play the guy. He's healthy. You got to play him. He's all over the place. I think the number 43 is about right. But to me, on the Niners side, McCaffrey's really the only guy that I gravitate towards.
And he's going to be, I think, a really good daily option.
I just think he's the only one that I guess I should say it this way. He's the only one that I trust. on this side for the 49ers.
That's fair.
Kansas City Giants, it's the Sunday night game, 7:20 start on Sunday night.
Yeah, this is a game with a total of 43.5, and I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Now, I get that the Giants just went off down in Dallas, but this is a different animal in Kansas City, and Kansas City plays a different type of football game. I'll start
they're
with
boring.
They are, but they're effective. They're a lot like the Eagles, just
Yeah.
not quite as good as we found out
Yeah.
on Sunday. But for Kansas City, you're going to start Mahomes. He's still churning the ball on the ground. 7 rushes, 66 yards on the ground against Philadelphia. Mahomes gives you that dual threat that you need in fantasy. Kelsey's his go-to guy. You're not going to overthink that. You're going to play him. Hollywood Brown's a thing. I still like the volume that he has seen. If you're looking for a sneaky one, Tyquan Thornton is a guy that caught the deep touchdown.
Yep.
He's again, looks like a raw, young version of Tyreek Hill. He is a speed merchant. Not somebody I'm going to start yet, but in daily, if you're looking for a cheap option, Thornton's the guy. The backfield, Hunt and Pacheco aren't doing it for me. I get it if you have to start them. You drafted Pacheco, but neither one, they're kind of canceling each other out. They're not really relevant yet week to week. On the side of the Giants, Russell Wilson was awesome. You missed the wedding if you didn't have him last week. Yep. Don't go to the funeral this week because it's going to get ugly. I don't see 400 yards and 4 touchdowns coming against Kansas City. It ain't happening. So if you have to start him, plug your nose and hope for 2. The backfield, I'm not happy. Nope. I've got a bunch of shares of Tracy, and Scatabo is starting to take over. I was afraid of this.
Yep.
He was hurt during training camp, the youngster. Scatabo, I'm gonna say it right now. He's the guy you want in that backfield, and it's not close. Receivers, Neighbors. I mean, my God, is this kid talented?
Phenomenal.
I mean, my God, is Malik Neighbors a freak? He reminds me a lot of Randy Moss. I'm telling you, the way this kid plays,
phenomenal.
So yeah, and the other guy that's starting to become a thing is Wan'Dale Robinson. Yes. Man, he was available last week. I'm not sure he's still available. If he is on the waiver wire, gobble him up. They're likely going to be in chase mode. Neighbors is likely going to be doubled. So maybe Wan'Dale gets another 6, 8, 10 targets this week.
One of my best moves last week was picking up Wan'Dale Robinson in about 3 different leagues.
He went off.
And stashing him away. Didn't start him, just stashed him. I wish I would have started him in a couple of games. But I've got him sitting there for when the bye weeks hit. I'll have a very serviceable player. Last game of the week, to me, is the best game of the week. The Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. The number is 52.5. Baltimore by 5. If you've got anybody breathing in this game, you need to play them. And I know that the Lions on the road aren't the same team as the Lions at home. However, both teams are so explosive. Goff, Amon St. Brown. I think that Gibbs is
God, what a stud.
Montgomery's
going.
Jameson, you got to play him.
Fire him up.
Don't even think about it. Just play them, all those guys. On the Ravens side, same thing. I mean, the Lions defense is good, but they're not great.
No.
And so I think there's some definite advantage. I look for a big bounce back from Derrick Henry this week. I think that they will make an emphasis of that in trying to run the football with him. Zay Flowers, still the guy. 11 targets, 7 catches, 75 yards. The one thing about the Ravens, dump Andrews. Just dump him. Get rid of him.
I'm with you.
He's not going to do anything.
He's a big name that's not, by the time likely gets healthy.
I think he's coming back maybe this week.
I want no part of Mark Andrews.
Even if Likely's not coming back this week, dump him.
I'm with you.
Get rid of him. Find a different tight end. He's just not a thing anymore. But overall, this is the best game to me for
Without
the week. And it's the Monday night game in Baltimore. Play all those
of
guys.
them, for sure.
All right, let's talk about our fantasy lineups. If I had a daily or a regular fantasy, this is the players that I would look at.
Your best PPR
Yeah, my
lineup.
best PPR. Quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I'm all over this game. I love Lamar. I love Zay Flowers. I'll stack them. Kenneth Walker. Give me Kenneth Walker this week. James Cook. Let's go. I mean, those two guys, I know Bijan. I have him in my flex. So I didn't forget about him.
Bijan.
So I didn't forget about him, but I love those. I love playing 3 running backs this week. I just think those 3 to me are the guys. Amon St. Brown, obviously. If I had all of these players on my roster, which you never will,
no,
but if I had them, I'd play him, and Trey McBride. Those are the guys to me, are the must-play guys this week for you in fantasy.
I'm trying to mix it up and use different players than I used last week. So I'm going to use Dak Prescott at quarterback on my best PPR lineup. I really like the situation against Chicago. I love it. I do. I got him on at least 3, maybe 4 touchdowns.
Tell me you don't love him as much as, is it Dak Prescott season?
Well, if you're playing Chicago or Carolina, it's whatever quarterback season, because these defenses are a sieve, and I just can't wait to watch him go off.
Okay.
McCaffrey is one of my running backs. We've talked about the volume. He's healthy right now. I have a different feeling on Josh Jacobs for this reason. Green Bay's defense gives them the ball a ton. Green Bay's going to be playing from in front, and I respect the defense of the Browns, but Jacobs can catch the ball and he can run the ball, and I think he can get at least 1, maybe 2 touchdowns. So I'm gonna look to him to be a guy. I'm on Ross St. Brown, 3 touchdowns, stud. The offense is starting to find their rhythm now. Again, they have new coordinators at both spots, so give it some time. He's still a thing. I love Zay Flowers. See, when I look for like PPR, I look for volume of targets, and both these guys are getting double-digit targets every week. I'm on Ross St. Brown and Zay Flowers. I use Juwan Johnson. I like the situation in New Orleans right now where he's one of the few players they trust, especially in the red zone. So I think he's a guy that can go out and get you 6 to 8 catches and a touchdown on a regular basis. And in a tight end spot, look around. It's not that great.
That's right.
And then for my flex, I love Jonathan Taylor. I love this Indy offense. I love the situation they're in. Ton of volume, and he's still got the juice.
All of those picks are really good picks, and if you've got those players in your lineups, you got to play them because they're all must players to play. Daily fantasy.
I'm so excited about my lineup.
FanDuel. Oh, really? Okay.
I am so excited about this lineup.
FanDuel pricing. This is my lineup for this week. I'm going to go Jake Browning at quarterback.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
Have you lost your mind?
No, just hear me out.
Holy cow.
I'm going to go Jake Browning.
Oh, my God.
And you know why? Because I'm going to stack him with T. Higgins.
Okay.
I am going to stack those two. This Vikings team is reeling right now, and I'm going to jump.
What's the price of your quarterback? Hold on.
6,800, Jake Browning.
6,800.
T. Higgins is 7,200. Okay?
Okay.
That's cheap. And there's great potential there. Okay? Because I want to play Bijan. That's why.
Well, I have to play Bijan.
Bijan is 9,500 this week on FanDuel. I'm playing him. I'm playing Jordan Mason. I'm playing the
I like that play. I like that play.
I got the playback player with the 2 Bengals.
Okay, you got me there.
Drake London.
Bounce back game.
Like Drake London. Keenan Allen's only 6,000. I love him against your Broncos.
I don't mind that play.
I love him against your Broncos.
He's had big games against Denver in the years past, too.
My tight end is Tyler Warren. I love him.
Of course.
I just think he's getting the volume. My flex guy is JSN.
Oh, yeah.
I like JSN this week. And my defense is Jacksonville. Jacksonville's $3,600. I like the matchup this week. There's 2 guys I wanted to fit in my lineups this week. Bijan and JSN.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 guys I felt really strong about when I looked at them that I wanted to make sure I got in my lineups. You have to find some value.
Yep.
Drake London's a great value this week, 7,300.
I do agree.
All right, that's my lineup for this week.
Now you spent $6,800 on Browning.
And by the way, I cashed last week with my lineup. So,
and I did too. Not big money, but I'm
off to a good start.
I'm positive for the year in daily, which is not easy to do.
That's right.
All right, you spent $6,800 on Browning, and I see that, and I get where you're going with T. Higgins. There's a thing there.
You're not playing him.
I am playing.
Oh, my God.
Well, do you want to make another side bet? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb Williams is going to outscore Jake Browning, and he's 7,100. So the price range is virtually the same. So, yeah, you come with all your thunder there, Randy. I'll take Caleb against your backup Browning, and I'm going to stack old Caleb Williams with my guy, Rome Odunze, against the Dallas defense.
All right.
Can I just go back to this one more time? This Dallas defense was at home and let Russell Wilson throw for 450 yards. Wrap your mind around that. Russell Wilson is 100 years old. Give me a break. Caleb and Rome are going to go off again. I had to have Bijan. He's the guy you have to have.
Okay.
9,500. There he is.
Yep.
To fit Bijan in, I needed to go cheap with my RB2.
Yeah, I like it.
Jalen Warren,
Sure. Pittsburgh,
volume is there.
I'll buy it.
Talked about Rome. Tet McMillan this week. He's only $6,000 and he's a stud.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, Jackson Smith and Jigma's on my roster at 8,000. To get him, I had to go cheap on the tight end. Why not go against the Bears here? Sure. I love that game.
The playback.
Jake Ferguson playback. Yeah. Bucky Irving. I love the play. They're against the Jets. They're going to be ahead. And then in my defense is the New England Patriots, who figured to get after old man Aaron Rodgers. So Caleb and Rome are the key because Bijan and Jackson Smith and Jigma are no-brainers. Okay. I need my Caleb, and I need him now.
All right. Not a bad lineup.
I think it's going to cash.
There's no way I am going to play Caleb Williams
at home against Dallas
in daily fantasy. I'm sorry, just not going to do it.
Okay.
I don't want that kind of stress in my life. All right. That's it for the show. Big week 3 in the NFL. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on all of the things that we just talked about. If you're a Vikings fan, hold on. It's okay, Alex. It's going to be okay. The sun will come up tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another edition of Daily with Fantasy Huddle. And I want to thank our sponsors. They are Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Minnesota Masonic Charities, 10K Construction,
Aquarius Home Services,
love it,
and Lexus of Maplewood and YZ.
And I'm back Friday with all the updates on those key injuries, especially Jaden Daniels in Washington. Watch for it on Friday. We really appreciate you tuning in.
Wow, you were enthusiastic this week.
I'm pumped up about Caleb.
We'll see you next week.